Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening around the world. Hello, my name's Kelly Choi from Dolby Labs, Director of Strategic Partnerships for Automotive, and I have the pleasure of moderating my favorite topic, the future of in-car entertainment. Personally, the car is my favorite place to listen to music as it evokes so many memories from listening to mixtapes as a teenager and now creating new memories singing along with my children on streaming services. The car industry, as you know, is changing at a rapid pace. With change and market disruption brings new opportunities for new and existing players. New technologies and innovations are ever evolving. Consumers are demanding new experiences, which increases pressure for shorter design cycles that include so many different options, software updates and services, in-car connectivity, autonomous driving, and the list goes on. At the same time, the grand vision for future in-car entertainment seems clear. The idea of a mobile living room where consumers can enjoy deeply engaging, fully immersive entertainment experience with a user experience that is perfectly tailored to the car cabin, personalized to you and I, and adapting to the contents we are traveling in. In today's webinar, we have panelists with all the same goal of delivering amazing entertainment experiences in cars. We would like to compare perspectives about where we are against this grand vision and what tangible next steps and the progress different actors are taking in the near term. I would like to introduce the panelists here today with me. Arkan Cole from Dolby Labs, Charlie Lippeth from Cinemo, Rose Holst from Screenhits TV, Jens Friedrich from Arkamys, and last but not least, not with us just yet, Benny Bastians from Deutsche Telekom will be joining us a little bit later. Before I hand it over to Arkan, I'd like to invite the audience to participate by asking questions via the chat box in your bottom right-hand corner, and we can address them at the end during our Q&A session. Now, handing it over to Arkan.
So, thank you, Kelly. Good afternoon. My name is Arkan Cole. I'm the head of commercial partnerships at Dolby in Europe. It's a great pleasure for me to be here at this webinar to discuss the future of in-car entertainment, together with our partners from Arkamys, Cinemo, Deutsche Telekom, and Screenhits TV. Just quickly, I will spend the next 5 minutes or so with introducing you to Dolby, what we do and how we do it, and what our perspective for the best entertainment experience in the car is. So, I'm getting questions from people who Dolby is and what Dolby does, right? I have the option of giving you a technical answer to explain you our products. I have the option to give you a commercial answer in how we deliver those products to our partners, but I want to give you an emotional answer. We unlock unprecedented emotional connections with creators, artists, and their audiences, and we do it in their purest form. So we make sure that the artistic intent is preserved and made available for the best possible experience in any environment that there is. And for decades, Dolby has been an innovation leader that helped to revolutionize how we experience sight and sound. I would like to take you through a few milestones that we have experienced in the past 60 years or so. Back in 1966, Dolby introduced the first product to reduce noise in music recordings. In 92, we launched the first movie in Dolby Digital, Batman Returns. 2012, we introduced Dolby Atmos to the cinemas, followed by the Dolby Vision launch in 2014. Dolby Vision is our HDR format. And most recently, in 2021, we have launched Dolby Atmos music in the car. By launching formats, we at the same time are creating and building ecosystems. We do not only work with the creative community, but we also work with partners that are in distribution, and we also make sure that those experiences come to life in any environment, whether it's a TV, sound bar, mobile PC, and most recently, cars. Through the work we do in these ecosystems, we are at the heart of the experience ecosystem. And as you can see from this Dolby Atmos example, it's a very important activity to bring all these partners together to orchestrate all these partners to bring these emotional experiences that we explained earlier to the audiences where these experiences matter. And one data point I would like to share with you. So 2 years back, we launched Atmos Music in the car, and in a very short period of time, we have been able to engage very deeply with the artists, with the music community. And by the end of 2022, we've been able to cover for 87% of the top 100 artists, according to Billboard. And you can see from this list that it's a wide array of different artists, of different genres and different regions. And this list is continuing to grow as we speak. And the amount of artists that start releasing their music in Dolby Atmos is also fueling the uptake of Dolby Atmos music on streaming services on a global and regional level. As you can see from this large list, we work with global providers such as Apple Music, such as Tidal and Amazon Music, but also with very strong regional players in the different regions, like Melon in South Korea, Angami in Middle East, QQ Music in China, or Ghana in India. And by doing this heavy lift in creating these ecosystems and strong demand in artist adoption and music service adoption, we believe that these entertainment experiences are coming now to the car. And it is actually happening. If you look at this list of partners that we have been able to onboard in the past 2.5 years, back in March 2021, Lucid Motors was the first company to announce Atmos adoption in their cars, followed by Mercedes in October 21. And since then, we have onboarded numerous relevant partners such as NIO, Li Auto, XPeng, Polestar, Lotus, Volvo, and ION. And this list will continue to grow in the next months and years to come. And by being able to work with these partners, we make sure that consumers can get the most out of their favorite music, podcast, movie, games, and all other content experiences that matter to them through best possible precise spatial placement that is mapped to every seat, whether it's a driver or passenger, for seamless and smooth integration into existing or new car audio systems, and for the work we do with streaming service providers that are enabled to play Dolby native Dolby Atmos. We deliver an authentic immersive audio format where the content is not upmixed from stereo, but the native authentic Atmos content is played back. But our offering is not only limited to technology and IP, so we also have a strong package of core deliverables that are important to implement Dolby Atmos for the car. We have a very sophisticated licensing program that is scalable to OEMs, tier ones, and other supply chain partners. We provide an ever-growing Dolby Atmos content ecosystem that is growing on a daily basis. We support with integration guidance and general support to make the car sounding as good as possible, and we make sure that you can leverage the strength of the Dolby brand. And finally, I would like to mention Dolby Atmos in a car is a premium experience, but it's not limited to premium cars and premium audio systems. It is our job and our mission to make sure that Dolby Atmos can be experienced also in entry models, car models, but also in baseline audio systems. And we have worked on, and we have those tools and technologies and platforms ready to do so. So we look forward to continue to grow the uptake of the best possible entertainment experience in the car for the work we do in the ecosystem, but also for the work we do with our partners, where many of them are on this call today. And I would like to hand over to my friend, Charlie Lippot from Cinemo, to give his perspective on how to deliver best possible entertainment experiences in the car going forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Akin, for the nice handover. Shaping the future of in-car entertainment is really baked into the DNA of Cinemo. Our mission has always been to create digital media experiences that matter since we first introduced our solution to the market in 2009. Now, what matters changes over time. Going back to what Kelly said earlier, the expectations from the consumers are changing, just as smartphones, smart TVs, smart speakers are continuously changing the baseline of what the expectation is when it comes to the entertainment that I expect as a consumer. And the car, with its luxurious cabin, the ever-growing screens, and a more better sounding audio systems are such an inviting, device, an entertainment cocoon, if you will, that it's really important for car makers to keep up with consumer expectations. And the way Cinemo wants to address this need is by providing software-only solutions, building blocks that can be combined and mixed to help car makers really create these delightful in-car entertainment experiences. Our portfolio comes in 3 different categories. We have the Cinemo Core product line, which is basically a combination of different low-level API and middleware products, allowing the highest level of flexibility when you assemble your infotainment system as a car maker. Android Automotive delivers a lot of entertainment experiences out of the box, but there are still things that need to be enhanced in order to meet consumer demands. And this is, again, an area where we come in and we enhance and complement what vanilla Android Automotive can deliver to OEMs. And finally, we've invested a lot in cloud services. What is so appealing about cloud services is that by moving functionality to the cloud, by design, you can ensure that the consumer will always have access to the latest, greatest experience, because frankly, there's nothing that needs to be updated on the head unit in the car. So we've been really doubling down on that investment. Let me walk you through some of our offerings in a bit more detail. Our core middleware products. Core projection allows you to incorporate the smartphone into the in-car infotainment system. It primarily is used to support things like CarPlay or Android Auto, projection mode. So you have software running on the phone, but you have the screen and interaction happening using the car HMI. Core Online is our solution to bring streaming services into the car via native integrations, allowing, again, car makers to really leverage a car's HMI and create an app that is really optimized for the car. So this is not a mobile app running in a car. It's really an app designed for the car, leveraging all the car has to offer. Core Browser is an automotive-grade browser and is a way how we can bring in premium video streaming into cars, cloud gaming and communication, fully supporting hardware-accelerated playback, and it's optimized to have a really, really low footprint. Core Play Anywhere is a solution that allows the secure mirroring of content that's running on one OS to other screens in the car or screens that you bring in. And it's not only mirroring content, it is essentially extending the infotainment experience to every passenger in the car. Core Play is at the core, if you will, of our offerings, and it's the unified media player designed by Cinemo, and this is where we've integrated Dolby Atmos for automotive. For Android, we also have a car's projection product, which, for example, helps bring CarPlay to Android automotive platforms. Cars Connect Media extends the functionality of music media apps, for example, to other screens in the car, allowing passengers to browse, to select what to play, and to operate apps that originally were designed to be only used by a driver via a center display. As cars are getting more screens, we are seeing a big demand for this functionality because passengers want to take part in the experience. Cars Connect Screens extends that concept and allows you to remotely control and share screens of virtually any Android app. It could be a navigation app, it could be a point of interest app, any kind of app is possible, a game, for example. Cars Online Video allows us to bring premium video streaming services to the car via partners. And Cars Premium Audio is our Dolby Atmos integration for Android automotive platforms. So how did the Atmos journey began that Arkin already walked you through? For Cinemo, basically, it began many, many years ago when we were supporting some of the legacy Dolby formats. We added support for DVD playback, for Blu-ray playback. But 2 years ago at IAA, actually, we announced a partnership together with Atmos where we would help bring Atmos into cars and leverage Cinemo's expertise in onboarding brand new technology and manage automotive projects, bring them to market, lower total cost of ownership. And we are now one of the leading enablers of Dolby Atmos in cars. Our Dolby Atmos integrations are pre-certified by Dolby. We are on the road with Mercedes-Benz and Apple Music on their Linux-based platform. And this year, we hit the road with Lotus and Tidal, our first Android automotive-based integration of Dolby Atmos. Arkim mentioned this earlier, the kind of maybe preconception, misconception, if you will, that, well, Dolby Atmos is such a luxurious format, it has to be only possible in luxury cars. And there are many questions around, well, how many channels and speakers are really required in order to ensure a Dolby Atmos experience and provide that experience just as the artist intended? What are the development efforts? How large are they? Integration costs? Delivery times? What about IP protection requirements that might be mandated by technology owners, by streaming services? At Cinemo, we really want to help make Dolby Atmos more universally available, not only in premium cars, but also in mid-range cars, in entry-level models. And the baseline audio variant of Dolby Atmos, with the limitation to only having 4 discrete audio channels, really lowers the bar as to what kind of hardware setup is required. We can ensure a very easy implementation to our car OEM partners, a fast time to market, a lower total cost of ownership, and ultimately a much larger addressable market for, frankly, an entertainment experience that nobody should miss out. And we know from our experience doing joint demos with Dolby, everybody that gets to sit inside a Dolby Atmos powered car will have a very, very hard time going back to a stereo system moving forward. A lot of the introductions of Dolby Atmos in automotive have been centered around music, but the next revolution is going to be video. And tomorrow is happening much, much faster than you might expect. At Cinemo, we are bringing together technologies of Dolby Atmos, of premium VOD in the car, to provide a solution that provides a truly cinematic experience inside the car, supporting video resolutions of up to 4K, and of course, fully immersive Dolby Atmos audio. As I mentioned before, this is not just for the driver, it's an all-passenger entertainment format. So we are able to provide copy-protected screen mirroring to every screen in the car, allowing passengers to interact with the content, maybe to be the ones that select the movie that everyone's going to watch in the car. And we support both built-in devices as well as built-in screens, as well as brought-in devices. But don't take my word for this. Please reach out to us, schedule your demo. We'll be very happy to walk you through our full product portfolio and what we can do for in-car entertainment. And with that, I'm very happy to hand over to Rose Hulse, CEO and founder of Screenhits TV.
Hi, I'm sorry I was talking and no one could hear me. Thanks, Charlie, for the introduction. So yes, my name is Rose. I'm the founder and CEO of Screenhits TV. My presentation today is going to really kind of just walk you through how the media industry, how we've seen it, is integrating into the automotive industry. How do we see that changing over the coming years? What do we see happening right now? How Screenhits is kind of playing a part of it. So I'll just kind of jump right in. So for those that don't know who Screenhits is, we are a consumer platform that allows customers to integrate all of their streaming apps into one place, and also live TV and fast content. So it kind of becomes that smart TV hub in your home, on your phone, and in your car. For us, when we ended up getting involved in the automotive space, we were originally a bit reluctant, because what we didn't want to do was to create a video platform where we chose content, made a selection of content available to the customers. It just wasn't what our product was, because our product is really allowing customers to integrate all of their existing subscriptions into, one app. So when we did decide to move into the car space, we wanted to bring Screenhits as it is in the consumer market into the car. And that's really giving the customers that freedom of choice, letting that customer continue watching what they're watching at home with their favorite content, and accessing their streamers and their fast channels, versus trying to create a pre-chosen selection for them. And this is really important, because as the customer is at home viewing something on their TV, and then they're on their mobile phone, then they're maybe at work on their lunch break, and then they're in the car driving somewhere and charging, and they're charging that vehicle, they want to pick up where they left off. So we thought it was really important to try to bring that experience into the car. And that's one of our main focuses. And it kind of goes into that whole 360 viewing experience. One thing that what we found when talking to a lot of the different automotive companies was that they didn't want to provide something where the customer was not able to continue that as soon as they got out of the car. They wanted them to jump right back in 32 minutes or 33 seconds into a program and continue watching it, and not have that experience interrupted. And so we worked really closely with our partners on doing that. And then also having a seamless experience in bringing other types of contents in the car. So it's not just about the streamers, it's not just about the live TV, which is important in how that interacts, but it's also about gaming, etc. So one of the biggest questions that a lot of people ask is, well, how does the streaming industry feel about cars? How does content partners feel about cars? Are they going to come into the space? And one thing that we found is that the industry is all about accessibility. The media industry do want to provide access to their existing customers and also to new customers. So when you're a subscriber to a certain streaming platform, that streaming company does want to provide that access, so consumers can access that content no matter where they are. So the industry is very much focused on, well, how do they create a scalable product to address this new trend in automotive, which is infotainment? Is it going to be through Android base? Is it going to be through Linux base? What is more scalable? How can they reach most of their subscribers? And there's also, what I think a lot of people may not understand, is there's a lot of pressure when it comes to the streamers, because there's certain screen sizes that, people's apps or websites were never really meant to work in. They want to make sure that their customers are having a really great viewing experience. They need technical resources on their side to make that integration happen. So there's a lot of issues to why it hasn't happened so quickly in the past. But what's exciting is that the media industry is very excited about the automotive space. They're very excited to be able to reach their customers in this new age. And as the automotive space really starts to move into more electric vehicles, charging times, multi-screen displays, gaming, etc., as we move into the infotainment side, the content streamers and content producers are very much focusing on how automotive plays a part of that. So what we're seeing and where Screenhits is at right now, we do provide our Screenhits TV automotive platform, which allows people to access their existing streamers from all over the world in 59 markets and 30 different languages. It focuses on the premium streamers and all the major local partners, as well as some really great live news channels such as Bloomberg, Euronews, etc. But we also have gaming. So our new Android platform has gaming, HTML5 games integrated in, which is exciting. But the future and what the future of entertainment looks like, I think it will continue to really enhance that experience. So when you get into a car it's all about the sound as well. So it's not just kind of watching something in, SD. It'll really be about 4K experience. It'll really be about high definition. It'll be about the sound, and that's where Dolby comes in, because you'll have this amazing theater sound in your vehicle, really driving you into entertainment and really getting that in-home experience in your car. And that's going to be seen in cars coming out in the next 6 months, 12 months. And obviously all the major streamers, as Dolby has mentioned, are already starting to work with Dolby Atmos to get them involved. So it'll really make a huge difference. And also, with Screenhits, we're a launcher. So we're not just a, app store in a way that allows you to just click on 30 different apps, because when you're in the car, you want your whole experience to be seamless. You want to have the recommendations, you want to have that connection of what you're watching at home, but you also want to be able to have everything right there in that infotainment section. So having Zoom, for example, to be able to be parked or idled or, passing 30 minutes instead of trying to run into an office or do something, you'll be able to actually Zoom and have meetings in your car. And that's going to be a huge thing. You'll be able to do watch together. So if you have time, or if you're in the back seat and your kids want to watch a show with one of their best friends while you're driving, that technology is going to be integrated. Being able to control what your children are watching, because you can't see them from the back, but being able to look on your phone or look on the dashboard and see, okay, they're under 12 years old. I don't want them watching a certain type of content. You can block all of that, obviously using voice control. So these are things that are happening now and that will be happening in the very near future. And it's really being led by some of these amazing automotive companies out there that have kind of taken that risk ahead of the game, and we're one of the first to kind of come out and bring that smart TV interface to the vehicle. And we're really lucky that we are able to be a part of this, the future of entertainment on this side. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to John Fredrickson for Arkamys, who will continue on with this great conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. To correct it, the German pronunciation is Jens Friedrich. I'm audio product owner working for Arkamys. And today I want to talk about the future of in-vehicle sound from the Arkamys perspective. First of all, Arkamys is a B2B software supplier with more than 20 years experience in audio signal processing. We are a 100% automotive dedicated supplier with already 90 million cars on the road. We have offices all over the world on 6 different countries, and we work close with our full ecosystem, from the OEM to the tier 1s and also the software integrators. We provide innovative and quality-oriented as well as cost-efficient processing solutions to enhance the sound experience in the vehicle. Our asset is not only our algorithm portfolio, but also our DSP and sound engineers to tune really the car's cabin to the customer's expectation. And this is our job, to create such a good sound experience in each and every car cabin. And here it also comes to the collaboration we recently did with Dolby, where Dolby on the one hand side is the content provider and doing the rendering down to the target system in the vehicle. And we from Arkamys then step in with the post-processing and the tuning of the car to really fit to the customer's expectation to create the best experience in the vehicle's cabin. Next, let's maybe talk a bit about trends and challenges we see or we are faced with in our daily work. First of all, sound quality is key. That means we need to take care that we overcome all the constraints and the challenges that occur in the vehicle, meaning highly sophisticated interior cabins, or also the expectation that you have a high fidelity experience on each and every seat. It's our job to tune the car's cabin to exactly that need. Second, I would not call it a trend anymore, but a major development is the electrification. And electrification on the sound side asks for new technology, meaning we have new audio setups. We have also new speaker designs due to the constraint of being lightweight and also the limited packaging that is possible in electric vehicles, we from Arkamys work already since years on solutions that overcome those hardware constraints with a clever software solution. Next one is the user's choice, meaning the user is not only listening to FM radio and to his favorite radio station in the car anymore. There's a lot of content. You already have seen what is possible in the vehicle's cabin right now and also in the future. And that's why there is more content available where we also need to adapt the sound tuning to. It can be movie, it can be gaming, it can be a podcast. Especially when it comes to autonomous driving, the sound experience is way more in focus than the driving itself. So the car becomes somehow a living room. Speaking about that, a living room is pretty quiet. A car is not necessarily. So we have noises around. So the experience is also defined by the environment a user is in. And there we need to treat and we need to handle also the road noise that occurs and that is present in the vehicle's cabin. And with that, the comfort of listening is defined also by the background noise. And the last one, we see that artificial intelligence and machine learning is an enabler for a special customization to the individual user's experience. Going on to the expectations we are faced from our customers. And we are asked to be very flexible in a way that we can evolve our product portfolio over the vehicle's lifetime with upgrades and updates. Also, new business models are required to create new ways to monetize software as a product or software as a service. For example, app stores will be part of future infotainment system with in-app purchasing options. Next one, from the hardware side, we see that a lot of the processing will be centralized in the infotainment system, meaning that all the sound systems from entry up to premium branded high-end systems will be processed out of the infotainment system. There will not be necessarily an external DSP or amplifier anymore in the car. And last one, to enable all these different features, we need to have high security standards, meaning only with a safe communication over the air, you can have these updates and these upgrades in the car's cabin. Let's move on. How is Arkamys addressing those challenges? We have 3 different products in our portfolio. First one, connectivity. Connectivity is basically the answer to all these trends and challenges I just described. It's a flexible way to create new usages, to implement new content, and also to create new ways of monetization in the vehicle itself. The core of connectivity are ambiancers, and I come to that in a second in my next slide to explain you a bit more about that. But first, let's talk about road noise management. And here, road noise management is a product Arkamys can offer as a software pure solution, especially for electric vehicles where efficiency and hardware weight is crucial. A software-only solution is a perfect fit, and this one can be scaled from mainstream cars, mainstream systems, up to premium cars and premium sound systems. And the last one, Soundstage, is our core of our portfolio. Actually, these are the tools to create a sound rendering in the vehicle's cabin that is true to the artist's intention. And for that, you have the chance to create a new environment that the listener not only thinks he's in the car, but thinks he's in his living room with his favorite sound system at home, or even in his favorite concert hall. And last, I want to show you an example how this could look like for the consumer in the car. Here you see the different buttons. These are the different ambience I just described. So we call them natural, dynamic, acoustic, podcast. You see, there is a purpose for each and every ambience. The user can manually select ambience, or with our connectivity feature, there is a way that this happens automatically based on streaming data that is provided into the car, that the user can rely on the system to always get the best ambience based on the music content he is playing back. You also can see there are options to do collaborations with music halls or artists to create time-limited or exclusive upgrades to the listening experience. For example, if an artist is releasing a new album, we can also create an ambience that is dedicated to this album, and the customer can easily access this through the App Store in his car. Arkamys itself acts as a white label brand, so we are working with well-known premium brands, and the customer has always the choice to name the ambiences in a different way. He can select how many of these ambience should be available, so this is easily customizable from our perspective. With that being said, thank you for listening, and I now hand over to Benny.
Jens, thank you so much. Thank you for having me as part of this conversation. Hi, everyone. My name is Benny Bastians. I am part of the Deutsche Telekom Group. I lead our automotive and international sales teams for in-car connectivity specifically. And I would like to walk you through what we think what's important when it comes to connectivity for in-car entertainment. Well, first of all, I think it's clear that connectivity is kind of the basis to bring this all alive. All the great content services that you heard of also today, as well as the great Dolby Atmos experience, of course, relies on also a connectivity partner like Deutsche Telekom to be able to offer the cellular connectivity at a global scale needed to connect cars. So just to look at this, why am I here and who is TIoT? Well, first of all, I think Deutsche Telekom is still the kind of one of the largest telcos in the world. We work very closely together with our partners across the world, including T-Mobile in the US. And also we are proud to be the most valuable brand in Europe, and not only in the telco sector, but overall in Europe. So Deutsche Telekom has proven to be the partner to the automotive industry, also when it comes to in-car connectivity. I think, you know, what's important is that connectivity in the car has always been important ever since we have introduced services like eCall and telematic services, but the importance will grow even more over the last couple of years. If I look at the car that that was brought online only a couple of years ago, you can say that they had a data transmission of, let's say, 20 to 30 megabytes per month. Nowadays, we're looking at cars that have way over 2-3 gigabytes per month per vehicle as a data consumption. Of course, this is all driven by OEMs offering more services in the car, content providers and customers in the end of the day, of course, being able to connect to their content, but also people to connect to their loved ones while sitting in the car. But we think that in a global, scalable environment, connectivity can be complex, and OEMs need to make sure that they implement it in the most scalable way, keeping in mind a few challenges like the regulatory situation in some countries, especially when it comes to streaming B2C service into a vehicle. Keeping in mind that you want to reduce the number of contracts and commercial agreements that you have globally. You want to keep them kind of in a controlled manner and reduce them as much as you can. You need to also make sure that in a global infrastructure, you can continue to offer low latency use cases to make sure that you know, traffic is not sent to a place where it shouldn't break out into the internet, but stay close to the content and stay close to the users. And of course, you need to have a scalable platform to make sure that you can manage that connectivity all from one place. That's exactly what we as Deutsche Telekom, we're offering under the brand of TIoT. And you can also already see here on this slide that we are also teaming up with our friends in T-Mobile US, because as a matter of fact, we are not only the only transatlantic mobile network operator in the world, but we are also the quality leader on both sides of the Atlantic. That makes us very proud, and that puts us, of course, into the best place to offer a global scalable platform to you and your customers. How are we doing this? Well, if we look at kind of our platform strategy for our global network services, we basically rely on 3 pillars here, which I would like to show you briefly. One is, of course, on the left-hand side, and that you can see in our favorite bold magenta color, is our own TIoT footprint, where we operate and manage our very own networks across Europe and also across the United States. This is, of course, the core. Again, this is where we build our own networks. Other countries beyond that, we cover through roaming. Roaming is something that, you know, traveling around the world, your phone will always pick up the best network. Of course, we have roaming agreements that make sure that automotive customers are served in the best way with vehicles that are permanently also driving in countries where we have roaming agreements in place. And the third is what I mentioned earlier. In some markets, you need a local solution in order to be able to comply and obey with the local laws, with the local regulation. Those countries are important for automakers, and so they are important for us. So we make sure that we have the solutions in place to offer also connectivity there. In a nutshell, what I really want to say with this slide is wherever your cars go, you will have a partner with Deutsche Telekom to make sure that your car is connected. Very briefly also touching on what we think are the most important use cases when it comes to consuming entertainment in the future that relies on connectivity. Well, first of all, of course, we all understand as cars become more autonomous with level 4 and later level 5 autonomous driving, we think that passengers will use that chance to enjoy even more entertainment in the vehicle. This is, of course, where we as a group of companies come together to deliver that end-to-end experience, enabled through connectivity, content management platforms, and of course, overall also Dolby with a great Atmos experience. We think also productivity will increase in the vehicle. We think that we need to make sure that our customers, the people in the end of the day in the car, can enjoy their service, maybe a meeting like we have today, or just, you know, watching their favorite shows and consuming content. But also, let's not forget the charging time. I think, of course, everybody understands fast charging is great, but still for some more time, charging an e-car will still consume more time than just pumping gas. So we think that charging time will be used by passengers to entertain themselves, to play maybe a game, and that's exactly where we will make absolutely sure that the network coverage is in place to enable the services that passengers choose to consume while charging their car. If you're interested in our global proposition, make sure you find me on LinkedIn, reach out to me. We're happy to go into some more details. Thank you very much for listening into my presentation. And I'm handing it back to the moderator.
Thank you, Benny. And thank you, everybody. If you don't mind coming back on camera, that will be wonderful. As per presentation, not a single player can deliver entertainment experiences into the car. A party of innovative companies in the ecosystem partner together to bring the best consumer experience to the marketplace. And so we got a few questions about, I'm going to open it up to the panel for questions, but I do want to just touch on one question. I think there was a few questions about whether the presentation will be available after the webinar. They will not be available individually, but we are recording the whole session and we will be sending out the link to the session afterwards. So please do have a look at that afterwards. So I'm going to open it up to the panel to start off with a question about, from a consumer perspective, and I'm opening up to everybody to chime in. What do you all think matters most to consumers when it comes to car entertainment experience? and what has recently changed, and how is the industry responding to these demands?
I mean, I can probably start, Kelly.
Okay.
And I already explained in the Dolby presentation, I mean, enjoying content, enjoying entertainment content is an emotional experience first and foremost. So people like to engage with their favorite content in any environment. And the car is an important environment, right? So we know that the car is considered as an extension of the living room. It's a mobile on mobile phone on wheels. So and we know what transformations are happening with and around the car, and we know that the expectations of consumers will be that there should be purity, there should be the best possible experience of their favorite content in the car, whether it's music, whether it's games, whether it's audiovisual content or live sports or podcasts. And we know with the partners that are on this webinar today, I think that can be delivered. And as said earlier in the Dolby presentation, we are an ecosystem company, so the experiences that we deliver are delivered because we work with partners. We build these ecosystems together with partners. And we know the car is on the one hand side a public space that you share with friends and family, but it's at the same time it's also a very private space, right? That you kind of want to have for your own, right? Where you consume on your favorite content, whether it's a piece of music that you love or whether it's a game that you want to play. So we believe that the expectations will grow in terms of quality and immersiveness. And I believe the car makers are already getting prepared for that, including their supply chains and ecosystems.
To maybe add to what Arkan just said, I mean, one big shift, I think, if you look at what kind of content is being consumed today, is that the content is really IP based, right? It used to be content, so-called pre-canned. You kind of owned it, you had it, you brought it with you. It was either on a device or on CDs, DVDs, what have you, on thumb drives. And now it's so much more streaming based. And given that yes, the car will be stationary at times, but other times will be moving. There's just so much more pressure to make sure that the connectivity works, that the responsiveness of the applications that you're using to access that content works. I feel that with attention spans being lower than ever, as we've all been growing up with smartphones now, and not to mention the younger generations, it's something we really have to get right, and that's why it's a real ecosystem play. Everybody has to contribute to make sure that the experience remains delightful, because the challenges have really changed.
Rose, I'd love to also get your perspective on that, because you're working very closely to deliver that end experience to consumers in a seamless way. And so how's the data sort of showing from a living room perspective compared to a in-car experience, if there's any comparisons there?
Yeah, so we've just gone on the road. So we obviously have Screenhits in the cars right now on the road, which started in July. So we're gathering that information, which I can't share because it's confidential to our yes. OEM partners. But we do find that a lot of people, they are using their content on the go. So we find that when consumers are accessing Screenhits in general, they will watch it on the Android TV at home. And then we also find a lot of that same usage from similar customers on their mobile phones. And then also we're starting to see that connectivity in the car. So people logging on and kind of continuing that continued watching section that we've been able to see where they've started it somewhere else and they continue that in the car. We're also seeing live TV actually very popular. So it's not just about, accessing your streaming services, which, of course, you're watching Yellowstone, which is an amazing show at home, and you really want to catch that last season, and you have 30, 40 minutes to kill, and you want to watch it. You're middle of the day, you're charging, or you're waiting at school pickup. But actually, news programs like Bloomberg great. People are tapping in very quickly and watching live TV, and sports is also really important. So we do find that it's something that, you know, people enjoy, and people have been watching content in the car for a long time, whether it was on their tablets, whether it was on their phones. And, you know, by integrating it into the car, having it on those screens, there's a lot of technology that's coming into place to actually help with, you know, when you're getting sick, because when you're watching something in the car, you have a handheld device or it's moving and the car is moving, there's going to be that motion sickness. And so there's new technologies actually that are coming into the cars and onto screens that help to prevent that motion sickness when you're actually watching content. Also with virtual reality, this is something that's really new, and a lot of car companies are integrating that, and we are a part of developing, you know, VR in the cars, which is great, and viewing that content. So as the car moves, you're kind of moving with it and watching that content. And so I think that it's going to, you know, kind of continue, and I think that people find it to be much more pleasurable to, instead of watching just like that on a small device that might keep falling off the dashboard or sitting there, they can actually see it and have that beautiful surround sound that really brings them into that theater style experience.
Excellent. Wonderful. So I'm going to move on to the next question. Thank you. There was a question from our audience. Will everyone be forced to wait for this technology to trickle down to economy class and brands, or is there action to take now to update existing audio system to allow integration to or support of Atmos in the current cars?
I guess this is addressed to me, Kelly.
Yes.
Right. So I did explain on my last slide. So, and I know that Charlie also added a few comments on top of that. So Dolby Atmos, for example, and we are also bringing Dolby Vision to the car. So that's also on our roadmap. So and right now we're there with Dolby Atmos. So it's our intention, and we have the tools and technologies and platforms to allow that today to make Dolby Atmos available for any car or and also for entry models and for baseline audio systems down to 4 speakers in a car. So that technology is ready and can be utilized and deployed as of today. So we need to work with all the supply chain partners of car OEMs and all the content and ecosystem partners that are necessary to do so. So that is ready today, and that's an important part of our story, as we're an ecosystem company. So we want to democratize the availability of those best possible content experiences to any environment, to any car, to any audio system. I think the other question was what happens to existing cars.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I need to split that question into two. So, I mean, we do work with some OEMs to upgrade or field upgrade existing cars, or to push that new software, that new technology to their existing cars. Of course, we have to go through a technical due diligence. In some cases, it's possible. In some cases, probably it's more difficult, but we do have cases where we have been able to field upgrade existing cars, and we are also engaged with other partners to do that in the future. I think the other question probably is there a kind of a aftermarket availability of Dolby tools, Dolby Atmos tools for that? I think that's something that we are, contemplating about, whether or not that is something that can be done, and how it can be done, for which partners and in what form. We don't have a solution yet, to be honest, for aftermarket, but I think something that we're considering. But if the question is, can existing cars that are technically feasible to be upgraded? Yes, we are working on that.
Thank you. Anyone else want to chime in regards to integration and how that gets deployed? Charlie or Jens?
I can just underline what Arkamys said. We're open for business. Technical due diligence needs to be done. But yes, especially given the new approaches where Dolby Atmos is available for audio systems that are not what you might expect. These super premium 7.1.4 systems. There's definitely, OEMs should talk, for sure. There are many opportunities, and consumers are demanding it, because, what we see from the services side is that there is, very little, delta cost-wise to go from a solution that gives you access to a stereo music catalog to a Dolby Atmos enabled catalog. So the consumers, will have more and more devices. And again, once you've had, that experience, it's really hard to go back to the old way of listening to music in stereo.
Excellent. Thank you. We are getting closer to time, and I'm going to ask the last question that came through chats, which is an interesting one. How can Michael Jackson make an Atmos production? So I'm going to hand it to Arkan if you want to explain that one.
It's a good question. So to the best of my knowledge, Kelly, maybe you can chime in here. I think there is already music from Michael Jackson available in Dolby Atmos. So I think Thriller and Bad, and I think a few other very iconic titles from Michael Jackson that they already have been remixed in Dolby Atmos and available, and I know very popular on the streaming services that already support Dolby Atmos. So I think the answer is yes. We can remix titles that have been released many years ago. Of course, in some cases, remixing is difficult because some of the assets that we need to make a perfect remix is difficult to get. But in the case of Michael Jackson, we were able, together with the studio and the partners, to able to do that. So you can enjoy Michael Jackson and Dolby Atmos.
Yes, along with much of the deeper catalog as well. So so there's classical music through to classics, to country, to hip hop, to new pop. The top 100, like 85 out of the top 100, Billboard hits are all mixed in Atmos. So please do enjoy music in a variety of genres that pleases your experiences.
Absolutely.
Yeah. With that said, I want to thank everyone for joining the Future of In-Car Entertainment webinar. Thank you to all of the panelists for sharing your perspective, and thank you to Kim and Sarah from the Dolby European marketing team for bringing us all together. The Future of In-Car Entertainment has just begun. Dolby and our partners have already delivered amazing music and video experiences to consumers around the world. But we've only just begun. But we believe every consumer deserves the very best entertainment experiences in cars. I would like to also invite everybody, folks that will be at IAA in Munich next week, September 5 to 7, to visit us and our partners for in-person demos. I think the link went up on the webinar. And as Arkamys mentioned and the team mentioned, we will have premium car experiences as well as mainstream car experiences. And it really is a remarkable experience for you to experience it for yourself. Please sign up via the link. I would like to thank everybody for your time and look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.